ستيف بروس مثلا يحط لك 5 في خط الدفاع ويلعب مهاجمين. اللاعبين في النص.
What is your VPN?
My VPN?
Yes.
My VPN is Spider VPN.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد. معنا اليوم الإعلامي القدير الإعلامي ستيف ريث من أشهر إعلامي نيوكاسل. We would like to welcome Steve Wraith. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, وليد. How are you?
Brilliant, mate. And طبعا وصل مساء الأمس بحمد الله وسلامته فريق نيوكاسل تدريبي خاص، معسكر تدريبي خاص في مدينة جدة لمدة 6 أيام وسوف يلعب إن شاء الله مع فريق الاتحاد. طبعا عندنا بعض المعلومات إن شاء الله الحصرية راح نتكلم عنها بعد قليل. So Steve, finally Newcastle visit Saudi Arabia. How did you see these photos and the videos we published last night on Twitter?
We're very lucky that we had a man on the scene. You, وليد, you did a lot of traveling, a lot of work yesterday to get there to see the players for the first time, and of course Amanda Staveley and some of the backroom staff and Eddie Howe, the manager. Yeah, I mean, I saw that, and then obviously there was a little bit of footage of them, getting on the plane at Newcastle and getting off the plane, across in Saudi. It's great to see. I'm surprised it's happened as quickly as it has. I didn't think that this would happen until, maybe the end of the season or the pre-season. But a little bit of warm weather, during a 2-week break that Newcastle now have is a great idea, and a great idea because first of all, it gets the players together. It gets them away from any distractions that they may have at home, and it gets them, the team bonding. There's obviously a couple of new players in the squad now, Kieran Trippier and Chris Wood, who have really just signed for Newcastle and then been thrust into 2 games. Now they have the opportunity of getting to know the players who they're playing with a little bit more, and spending a bit of time with them. And yeah, it's a great thing. And the fact that it's in Saudi is very important because, as we all know, PIF are the major shareholders. They are the people who made this deal happen. The purchase of Newcastle United. So to go out there and to see, and meet some of the people who are, behind PIF can only be beneficial to the football club moving forward. And of course, it opens up that connection between the people of Saudi and Newcastle United. Hopefully it will help the support out there grow. We already know that there's a lot of people in Saudi Arabia have transferred their allegiances from one club to another and now support Newcastle. And that can only happen more so when there's a link between, the club and the country. And for me, it's great. It's great to see. It sends a positive message. And I'm sure this will be the first trip of many out to Saudi. And it's just great to see the players out there. And I'm over the moon as well that they've actually got a game set up. The fact that they've got a friendly, it's all very well going out there to train, but the discipline of a game, the discipline of having to get ready for a game, practicing set pieces, practicing, different routines, etc., which they can then bring into, the battle for relegation when they resume again in a couple of weeks' time. It can only be beneficial, and I think it just keeps the discipline going of preparing for a game. It's great news, and I'm sure for the people of Saudi, it must be fantastic, وليد, to see the team out there.
It was really brilliant, and it was very crowded. And actually, I got lucky to get inside in a private area. I'm not gonna tell anyone how I did it, but it was really nice. And let's play these videos and we come back. That was a little video of last night reception of the club, and Actually, I've been receiving some commented that why you chasing or why you chasing the bus. Actually, that wasn't chasing. I just want to clarify this as we are in live. This is like a parade because it's a big guest, and we're doing this as a parade. It's like the cars going behind someone like important. We do this in a lot of celebrations, and it's just for few miles, and we call it mawkib in Arabic, which is similar to, I think, a word parade. We have a lot of exclusive news, but as I am reporter in UFC Matter as well. Hopefully, I will be soon, maybe tonight or tomorrow, in UFC Matters shows to give my report and my exclusive, inshallah, soon. Okay, now we're going to the camp and some details about it. But before, let's talk a bit, Steve, about the Leeds game, as it was, I believe, during Leeds game, the players didn't want to come to Saudi Arabia empty-handed. They come with the 3 points. I believe the soul they show us in the game, it was massive. What do you think about the game?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, you know, we have been to virtually every single away game this season, and game after game, Newcastle have lost. It's been disappointing. The journey home has been, you know, sad. But, you know, to go to Leeds, our nearest rival at the moment, because obviously Sunderland and Middlesbrough are both in lower divisions. It was fantastic. You know, the away support, which was just short of 2,800, we're all in good voice, and the team for once, you know, reacted and gave us the win, gave us 3 points, and that was what was fantastic. It was very important, and I think after the disappointment of the Watford game the week before, where, you know, Newcastle really needed to get 3 points but only came away with one, to go to Leeds and to get 3 points, no matter how you did it, was fantastic. And, you know, the smiles on people's faces tells you it all. There were some good performances. You know, you don't like to pick out people, but you know, the star players on the day were certainly Fabian Schär. You would have to say John Joe Shelby had another good game. Kieran Trippier, and Paul Dummett again looked as if, you know, he had never been away. So, you know, those 4 players in particular stood out for me. Chris Wood, 15 aerial battles he won. He won 15 headers. Very important. Although he's not a pretty player to watch, he's not somebody who will get, you know, 20 goals a season. He's going to be a very important player moving forward, I think. And, you know, there will be games which are as tight as the one at Leeds where he might get the winning goal. So all in all, it was very positive. It was a positive day, and, you know, it brings Leeds back in a little bit. It brings Leeds closer. And when you start looking at the Premier League table after the results at the weekend, you know, things have tightened up again. And with a 2-week break, Newcastle now, of course, have you know, Everton at home in the next game, and that is going to be every bit as vital. I said going into these games, going into the games against Watford, Leeds, and then Everton, Newcastle needed a minimum of 7 points. We've got 4. We need now a win against Everton. We get a win against Everton on Tuesday, the 8th of February. The table will look a lot brighter. And then quite quickly, we go into the next game. Only a few days later, again at St. James's Park, it'll be a full house live on Sky against Aston Villa. And, you know, Aston Villa are playing well, but Newcastle, you know, have got a good record against Villa. It would be great to think we could beat Everton and then go into that Villa game hoping to, you know, to continue the good run. And it is about being on a good run. You know, we were all doom and gloom before Leeds. I don't think anybody on the NUFC Matters team predicted a win. But when you look at it now, it's 3 games unbeaten, 2 draws and a win. And we've got to keep that going. We've got to keep that run going. And from our perspective, you know, don't worry about the teams around us. Just concentrate and focus on what we've got to do ourselves. And if we do that, we won't go far wrong. And it's amazing what a bit of confidence does, because suddenly games against Aston Villa and West Ham and Brentford and Brighton, which is our next block of fixtures, those games which probably looked a little bit foreboding about 2 weeks ago, now you're looking and going, well, we could get something there. We could get something there. we could beat Brighton at home. You know, it changes the whole landscape. And if other teams around us start losing or continue to lose, teams like Watford, teams like Burnley, who've got games in hand, we know, but they've got to win them, then ultimately Newcastle's, you know, fortunes will look a lot brighter. So that win against Leeds, Eddie Howe called it a potential turning point. I think he's right. I do think it is a turning point. And I think the fact that the fans are so behind the team, win, lose, or draw, has a big say in this as well. And you've got to make sure that against Everton, Newcastle fans once again are the 12th man and they get behind the team because it's so important.
Last night, when the player came during their arrival, Shelby, I felt he got special cheering, and we know Shelby is not the, let's say, that's the star of the team, but because he scored, we have I think that's why he got more cheer from the fans. So that's our problem, I believe. Scoring a goal, it's still, if you remember, Steve, I call it once, it's like labor or delivery labor. It's very hard to achieve a goal, and this is, I believe, we still have the same problem.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is tough because we don't have an out-and-out goal scorer when Callum Wilson is injured. That is the problem. We've managed to bring in Chris Wood, and the away support, there was some people critical of Chris Wood, a lot of people moaning about him. People like me, though, I've supported Newcastle. I'm in my 38th year as a supporter now. I've seen players come and go. I've seen good players. I've seen some terrible players. Chris Wood doesn't fall into the terrible player category. The guy did a lot of hard work. He did a lot of running, and he did a lot of great work in the air. He won the ball. He knocked it down. There was just nobody around him. We need another striker. We need another striker before the close of the window because Callum Wilson is going to be out for another 6 weeks. Me personally, you need somebody to play off him. Callum Wilson could do that. If you had Callum Wilson alongside Wood, it would be a formidable partnership, and it's going to be quite a frightening partnership for the back end of the season. But ultimately, I personally feel we need somebody now to come in and do that job. You need another striker anyway. Ideally, big clubs have 4 good strikers because, you know, if people get injured or suspended, then the next person comes in and they all need to be able to work together. We also need some creativity in midfield. We're getting linked with Jesse Lingard. We've been linked with Dele Alli. I personally feel one of those will come in before the transfer window closes. If you had to make a prediction, I would say it could be Dele Alli because of the agent situation. He has the same agent as Chris Wood, and he has the same agent as Trippier. And there's no doubt in my mind that Kieran Trippier will have spoken to Dele Alli as an England colleague and said, come to Newcastle. Come to Newcastle. It's on the up. Things are looking positive. Yes, the money's going to be good, which is an additional bonus for any player. But he's going to get game time. He's going to be playing on a regular basis, and the fans are going to love him. And Kieran Trippier loved that on Saturday. He loved the fact that the away support sang all the way through the game, and that he came over and threw his shirt into the crowd, and he loved it. He was smiling from ear to ear because he knows he's loved, and he knows he's become an instant success at Newcastle. And for him, that's just something that, you know, you can see it on his face, and that will be something that he will tell, you know, any of these other players. He's good friends with Lingard. Again, you know, if Newcastle want one of those players, it's going to stand us in good stead, you know, that kind of situation. So this week's very, very important. We didn't make a signing last week, but I think the signing of a centre forward and the signing of a midfielder is far more important than the signing of a centre half or a fullback, because I personally feel that with the defenders we've got at the club at this moment in time, we could probably get through this season with those defenders and then make a big signing in the summer. Of course, it would be nice to bring in a centre half in or bring another fullback in, but my mindset would be we need goals. Goals win games. Look at the statistics for this season. How many games we've lost by the odd goal. I would say just bring a striker in and a creative midfielder in, and I think we've had a fantastic window. If we can get 1 or 2 loan players in as well, all the better. But, you know, for me, Al-Waleed, you know, we do need to do some business this week, and I'm sure there will. And I would be very surprised if there isn't a signing this week and that player gets flown out to join the squad in Saudi and the player is unveiled in Saudi Arabia. Of course, it would, you know, we've heard the rumors of a big showcase signing, a big marquee signing, if you like, and they would like to, you know, announce them in Saudi. You know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we could get somebody like Gareth Bale, who, of course, came to Tottenham, you know, for a short period of time. You know, it's not out of the realms of possibility that somebody like him might decide, well, I'll come to Newcastle to play the second half of the season. Who knows? The one thing we do know is that it's a lot more exciting in this transfer window than it has been for the last 14 years.
Brilliant, Steve. And I will add, I would like to add on that regarding Chris Wood. I think he's struggling to do both scoring and doing some playmaker. That's mean we didn't actually have a quite good playmaker. I know we noticed Saint Maximin trying to do this, but still need time to be a regular playmaker or standard playmaker. So Chris Wood, I think a problem he suffered. He was trying to get the ball and score. Two jobs, it's very hard for him.
Yeah, I mean it is very difficult for him because ultimately, as you say, you know, his job is to score goals, and he finds himself stuck in the middle. I saw an interesting post by Craig Hope, and that was that the team seemed to benefit from Joe Linton going off. Now, Joe Linton's been fantastic. He's been really, really, really good. He's been a key player in recent weeks. But Craig's article essentially said that, you know, Sean Longstaff benefited more when Joe Linton went off. And I felt that was right. I felt, you know, it was correct. And sometimes it's a formation that doesn't suit players. It's why a lot of people have been saying that Joe Willock, you know, including myself, has been pretty poor this year. But, you know, maybe it's the fact that the formation just doesn't suit those particular players. You know, that's the problem, Waleed, you know. But yeah, Chris Wood, I think, will come good. As I say, the stats are there for everybody to see. You know, he made a valuable contribution at the weekend. And, you know, had St. Maximin been a little bit more clinical in front of goal, you know, we probably would have got another goal from that. Joe Willock should have scored. Ryan Fraser should have scored. You know, Newcastle, although Leeds had more possession, I think it was something along the lines of 63% possession as opposed to Newcastle's 37. They were the home team. They should have had more possession. But ultimately for Newcastle, it could have been 3 or 4-0. And when you have 15 chances on goal and you only have 4 on target, you know, Newcastle had the better stats in that way, shape or form. Leeds just didn't. For the home team, Leeds just didn't play well at all, and it was a good result. It was a good result for Newcastle. It was a valuable 3 points, and we needed the 3 points on Saturday. Had we not got 3 points on Saturday, you know, I think we'd have all been very, very depressed and probably almost admitting that we were going to go down. As it is, Newcastle fans are a lot more positive this week, and you know, with this 2-week break, hoping that we can come straight back in and you know, do the same against Everton. I wish now we weren't on a break and that we were playing Everton this week. I wish we had a game on Wednesday and we were going straight in against Everton while we've got the momentum. But look, it is what it is. We've got a 2-week break. We've just got to make sure we maximize our time with that break, you know, and get the best out of this trip to Saudi.
Yeah, we'll talk now about trip in Saudi and some details. We'll share some details. But first, Junior Turner asked, and I'm sure Steve will answer, not me. What is the tea they were offering the players at the airport, Al-Walid? It was an Arabic coffee. What is an Arabic coffee, Steve, if you can explain?
Oh, now you're getting me on the spot. I've only had one once. You'll have to remind us. We had one at that guy's house, didn't we, when we went there?
Yeah.
But it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, it was Arabic coffee, Junior, not tea. All right. Okay. So now there is a 6 days visit to Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. First, why Jeddah? Do you think? Why Jeddah, not Riyadh? Because once I know this, I go directly to Jeddah, which is 9 hours driving. Why Jeddah, Steve? Do you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, you know better than me. The training facilities out there, and you know, maybe it's accessibility. I mean, are there different COVID regulations? I don't know. You maybe's a better place to tell me, because you know, ultimately it could be down to that. You know, that there's better training facilities, etc. I mean,
the facility almost the same. It's I believe it's just the weather. It's here more warmer, much warmer.
So what's the temperature out there at the minute?
Not really. Didn't check it today. Actually, I never checked the temperature.
What's the average? What's the average temperature?
I think about 20, 22, 20, I think 20 in general. 18 to 22.
So clearly they've gone, as you say, clearly they've gone for the weather out there, you know, and plus the fact that there's a friendly organised against a local team. I mean, do you know much about the local team?
Actually, yeah, it's the team is Al-Ittihad, and it's gonna be on Friday. Until now, without audience, and as we hear, it's no TV as well, not televised because it's friendly. And Al-Ittihad, he is now the first in Saudi League. Was suffering last year's, faced relegation, believe it or not, few years, 2 years back. But now they are doing much more, doing great signings. This is what helped the team. If you're doing great signings, you will get results. And this is what happened to Al-Ittihad. Before they have normal signings, cheap signings, and that's why they were a relegation battle. The game, as I heard, it's going to be in Prince Abdullah Al Faisal Stadium, which is lately renewed lately. This is from internet, but this is from I was driving today, past it. I passed it, just take a quick picture. That's the stadium. Until now, this is the news regarding the game. And also Al-Ittihad, they are on vacation now. They will play in the vacation is because Saudi Arabia will play Oman in the bigger stadium in Jeddah on Thursday. It's called Al Johara, which is near the Jewel. So we believe that that's why they're playing in this other area, and as it's friendly, and they will practice in Al-Ittihad club. But we are still, I'm not really 100% sure about this, as we saw, because Wednesday they have a break. They will start training the Al-Ittihad club on Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday. So they have 2 days before play on Friday. So I'm not really sure if the team, as I find it, will do some report, hopefully in UFC Matters later. Okay, I would like to ask you, Steve. I notice now the secrecy. It's top secret. Top secret is this camping. It's very hard to get information. Very hard to get photos. Why this close? Is it normal for an English team have this much more of closeness in such just breaking between in the mid of the season, winter break as we call it?
I don't think secrecy is a major issue, you know, with Newcastle United's new owners. I just feel that ultimately, you know, things are like that with football teams in general. I mean, the trip to Saudi was well publicized, but they don't often in the UK, you know, give notification of what time they're leaving, etc. You know, so maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe you expected it to be more formal and understand, you know, get timings of where they're going to be and where they're going to stay, etc. But you know, what I've seen about this trip to Saudi is it's pretty normal. It's pretty, you know, it runs exactly as you would expect it to run. That, you know, they've touched down. Somebody finds out where they're staying, and then you end up at, you know, the media end up outside, and you know, they try to get a glimpse of the teams leaving, etc. It's what happens. It's I mean, this is good preparation for Newcastle, of course, when eventually they get back on the road and go, you know, get into those European nights, I guess, you know, team bonding, going away. It'll be a long time since some of the players have done this, because, of course, with COVID especially, you know, the friendlies have all been, you know, at home in the UK. So this is the first time some of these players will have travelled away with, you know, with each other. So it's there's nothing secretive, I don't think. This is the way it is done as far as Premiership clubs are concerned, or any club travelling away. And I imagine that the itinerary will be available to certain people, but again, the friendly itself is behind closed doors, so it's not open to the public. And again, that's not really secrecy. It's just the way that it's done. Though there could be a lot of people who want to go to that game. And again, I don't know what the COVID situation is or the COVID restrictions are in that part of the world, but that will play its part. And ultimately, they will make a decision based on that, I guess. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned. It's not. I wouldn't consider it secretive. I would just say ultimately it's become, it's just become the way of life for us. And I think the COVID does play its part.
It's combined between secrecy and protection. We expect, as a fan, that Newcastle team, after the takeover and first trip to Saudi, at least should be one day for kind of such a half-open event to welcoming the team. That's what I expect. And on the other hand, actually, what I find out that is there is a protection. There is a special team of 12 guard to protect the team, maybe for contact regarding COVID and stuff. But I believe, I don't know, but from my experience with COVID, I think maybe most of the team already have it. So I don't know why the concern. What do you think, Steve?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know who has had it and who hasn't had it at Newcastle. We know, one or two players may have come forward and said, yeah, they've had COVID. We might have got notification, but that's the problem. We don't know how many players have had it. But it's just a general attitude towards COVID. We saw the players and Amanda and Eddie coming through the airport, arriving at the hotel. Everyone still had the masks on. Of course, in the UK, masks will disappear in the next week or so. So, it's different rules and different regulations. And I just think there's a caution there. Again, up until recently, we've seen games postponed because of COVID going through the camp. And, who's to say there isn't another variant in Saudi? We don't know. This is the issues that you're dealing with. And that's why there's probably this caution. I mean, at the ground, for example, normal protocol isn't being observed. Various parts of the ground are considered a zone, a red zone. And, you can't have people in those zones where normally you would be allowed to have people in those zones. So there's loads of different situations which have occurred through COVID. And I think that's what it's all down to. It's as simple as that, really, وليد.
Brilliant. Would like a different topic. We receive a lot of concern about it, and we would like to know your opinion, Steve. Before the win, now there is, usually we are passionate after a win. We get relaxed, no much negative comments. But before that win over Leeds, when I was searching as usual in Twitter, I found a lot requesting after sacking Rafa, bring Rafa back. And someone said no, just director of football. So he will work with Eddie Howe together. I know you have maybe I describe it a good relation with the previous coach of Newcastle with Rafa Benitez, and we would like to what you can tell us about this sudden sacking by Everton and the fans' opinion. Especially, God may forget, if we lose soon or again or next game, for example, these sounds of requesting Rafa will come back. So, what's your take on that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, Rafa Benitez is in the past. He's part of our history. It was great to have him at the club. Under Ashley, it was even more so because. He's certainly somebody who gave Mike Ashley a few problems, which was great for us fans. But in reality, Rafa's history now. He would not come back as a director of football, in my opinion. But I do feel, in the future, if things didn't work out for Eddie Howe when he wasn't in a job, there could be that opportunity for him to come back as a manager. But at the moment, I think his history, he's certainly not going to come in as a director of football, in my view. And it doesn't surprise me that every now and then on social media that gets brought up. Some people would love to see Rafa in now and feel that Eddie Howe hasn't done any better than Steve Bruce. But for me, Eddie Howe is the right man in the right place at the right time, and I think he'll do very well. I love the way that he conducts himself. I think he'll get it right. I think that he's certainly looking now at the right players, and he's got money to spend, and I genuinely think he will get the best out of these players that he's bringing in. So yeah, you don't judge a manager after so few games, and I just think it would cause a major upset in the dressing room if they were even to contemplate doing that. But I don't believe that the new owners would do that. I really, really don't. If Newcastle were relegated and they dropped into the Championship, I would expect them to give Howe another year to try and get out of the Championship. I certainly wouldn't expect them to sack Howe if Newcastle went down. And that again, that is just my opinion. It's my gut instinct on what I feel these new owners would and would not do. But ultimately, if they didn't get promoted in the first season, I think they would then have to make a decision. It's just unfortunate timing for Rafa fans that when there was a managerial vacancy and the club was taken over, Rafa Benitez wasn't available. And, now he is. There's no position available at Newcastle for him. It's as simple as that. So we've got to move on. I was, a good friend of Rafa's and his team, and I've moved on. And if I can move on, other people can. So that's it. It's as simple as that. I am interested in a couple of the things that have been put out today, of course. One being that Steve Bruce has been linked with the Watford job, where Claudio Ranieri has only been in the job a matter of months. And certainly isn't doing very well, certainly hasn't had a bounce, and, potentially could find himself sacked very, very soon. And they're now linked with Steve Bruce. I think that will be a nightmare for Watford, and, it would be good news for every other team stuck in the relegation battle. I think the other interesting thing today is the story that's going round about Andy Howe. And of course, Andy Howe is Eddie Howe's nephew. And there is talk in the media today, in the Daily Mail, who broke the story about Andy Howe coming in a senior recruitment role. Apparently, he's left his position as the head of first team domestic player scouting at Bournemouth, which of course was Eddie Howe's previous club, and looks as if he could be on his way to Newcastle. So that's interesting. I've noticed one or two people making noises about that, but that would be a good move. It's sensible, bringing somebody in who you can work with, and if it's somebody who is family, I'm sure that is great news.
Is it exclusive, or does everybody know about it? Because I just hear this.
Yeah, it's the Daily Mail exclusive. Yeah, I think if I remember rightly, the journalist who broke the story was Sami Mokbel. So if anybody wants to find out, get onto Twitter. Sami Mokbel wrote the story, I think, and it's in the Daily Mail. But yeah,
but nothing from the club about it.
No, not at the moment. It's in the media. It's in the media only.
I receive a lot here about a question about transfers, and I know we talk about it, but I will maybe ask about it now. Steve, now I think maybe 6 days left, or 1 week left for the signings.
Yeah, it's a week left.
Week left. So, who you think we are getting?
Well, I think there's been so many stories about this one and that one coming to Newcastle. I think Newcastle will bring a centre half in, and I think they'll get a central midfield player. And I hope they bring a centre forward in. I think they will fulfil those three positions. I think one of them might be a loan signing, and we might get 2 more permanent deals. But who is coming? I really don't know. You would think that the amount of time and effort that they have put into the Jesse Lingard deal, and the fact that he is good friends with Trippier, is going to be a positive. There's talk today of them increasing the loan fee to £10 million. If that's the case, and it'll be £10 million well spent, because we saw the impact that Jesse Lingard had at West Ham when he went there. I think ultimately it would be better to bring him in permanently. If we're going to sign him, try and get him permanently. But if we get a loan deal on him, then so be it. He will do well in the run-in. I still think we need a centre forward, because regardless of the fact that we've signed Chris Wood, as I mentioned earlier, we need somebody like the Callum Wilson role to come in and, you know, be there on a rotation basis, who can play alongside Wood or can play alongside Wilson, and, you know, have three people competing at, you know, towards the end of the season in that position. It would be good, but we need somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. It's very important. Like I said earlier, you know, they've certainly pursued centre halves and left backs, but not had any success yet. They're clearly still looking for defenders, but I still wouldn't be too concerned if that didn't happen in this transfer window. I think if they only brought a midfielder in and a forward between now and the end of the transfer window, I think we've got enough in the defence to stay up. I think there is enough performances in the likes of Fabian Schär, Paul Dummett, Javier Manquillo, Jamal Lascelles, Kieran Clark, and Fernandez, if we can get him on the pitch. I think there's enough in that back four with Dubravka in goal to keep us up. I think we can get through most games with a combination of those players. Don't forget as well, we've got Lewis to come back into the fold, and we've got Emil Kraft. Players, again, who, you know, have had, you know, not had the greatest of success at Newcastle in recent months. However, since Eddie Howe came in, have certainly put in decent shifts and decent performances. Lewis was certainly looking a much better player before he got injured. So I think we can get through the season with that back four and the goalkeeper. And I just think we need to pursue a centre forward and a centre midfielder with urgency and get those across the line. It'll be interesting to see what happens. The fact that we haven't let anybody go of any major, you know, no major players go is another positive. We've got players there we can work with. We'll have a big squad to get us through, you know, get us through the season. But all eyes will be on, you know, the injury list. It sounds as if Ryan Fraser's injury wasn't too serious. Paul Dummett's wasn't too serious. Joe Linton looked okay when he got off the plane last night, so he should be fine. You know, it looks like we came away pretty unscathed, and the 2 weeks rest between games should mean that we have a pretty full squad to pick from when it comes to playing Everton at the start of February.
Steve, I'm picking a selective question. First one, regarding the CB, we went for Botman, we went for Diego Carlos, we went for Bachel, and many names, and now we are talking about Dele Alli and Lingard. So isn't gonna be any defender? Are we happy with the names?
Look, I think what we have to remember is, and this is very important, that, you know, ultimately the names that get mentioned in the media, some are very accurate, some aren't accurate at all. And that is what Eddie Howe said in his press conference, prior to the Leeds game. He basically said, look, I've heard all the rumours, I've heard all the names, and he says 50% of them are accurate, 50% are just names plucked out of the air. So my advice to fans in Saudi Arabia would be, don't get too carried away. Wait until you see the player wearing the top, you know, posing for those photographs at St James's Park. This is what the British transfer window is like. This is the rumour mill, as we call it in England. Lots of rumours, lots of stories, lots of clickbaiting, but ultimately, a lot of these stories don't ever come true. And, you know, I feel that Newcastle United have done the things in the right way. I think that they've probably driven a hard bargain at times, but they haven't gone in, and the expression in England is they haven't had their pants pulled down. They haven't been embarrassed. They've gone in with an accurate pricing for certain players, and they won't, you know, sometimes they won't budge. They're negotiating, and that is what good business people do. And, you know, a lot of people felt that Mirdad and Amanda might be out of their depth with this. but they certainly haven't been. And the two players that they brought in are good additions to the squad for now. Trippier is somebody who I think can go on and play for the next few years. And like Alan Shearer said at the weekend on Match of the Day, he will captain this team at some point. And Chris Wood, as I said, is a good signing for now. We will get a good couple of seasons out of Chris Wood. And again, I know that it's not a showcase signing, a marquee signing. Some players, some fans don't rate Chris Wood, but Chris Wood will do well. And he will get us a couple of crucial goals, I am sure, in the run-in this season. And when Callum Wilson comes back, or if we get a new forward in the next week, he will be the person who does a lot of the donkey work, the hard work, winning the ball in the air and winning the knockdowns for the other centre forward to come in and score goals. That's how it works. And yeah, I would just say don't get too excited and carried away with the names. And there'll be a little bit of play going on by the agents as well, Waleed. People forget that the agents are the ones who benefit massively. For instance, the agent who did the Andy Carroll deal many years ago when he went to Liverpool was on 10%. And Andy Carroll went for 35 million pounds to Liverpool. The agent got £3.5 million out of the deal. Agents are the people who make money out of football. And how do you do that? Well, by you link your player with you ring your mate up at the paper, you ring a journalist up at the newspaper, and you say, my player would like to go to Newcastle. And then the story gets out there. It gets onto social media. It gets into the newspaper. And before you know it, then there's a bargaining. There's a war going on between different teams. Manchester United might want the player. So they say, well, we'll bid 20 million. Newcastle say, well, we'll bid 25. Manchester bid 30. And the one person who is sitting at home rubbing his hands is the agent. He's sitting there going, yay! 10% of 20 million is 2 million. 10% of 30 million is 3 million. That's another house I'm buying. That's the way it works. That's the way that agents work. And it's, that's what happens, Waleed. It's as simple as that.
I read something, and I believe it was Rafa, but it was in Arabic, but I'm not really sure. It's about the agent. According to that tweet, I think I read that Rafa says that the agents, they are running the game now, and a player who can pass correctly and run fine in Premier League, that's a standard 25 million. Have you heard this?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I remember when Rafa spoke about it. I mean, he spoke about it, and he spoke about it quite openly in the media about agents running football. And it is true. Agents do run football. It's as simple as that. And, they have a lot of power. And, they start, very early on because they want their players to move. They want the best deal for their players. The players get a lot of money for playing football, but the agents are paid for sitting back and doing the deal, and that's what they get paid for. And it's as simple as that. Agents do run football, and if you have a good relationship with the agents, then you're going to be able to bring the players in. If you don't have a good relationship with the agents, transfer windows are going to be very, very, very difficult for you.
Abu Nawaf have concern. He would like to know, as many as a fan, what the reason of refusing or stalling regarding these offers. Is it greedy? Are they become just greedy to get more money? Or this is just a plan to try make Newcastle maybe get relegated?
No, I don't believe for 1 minute it is a plan to get Newcastle relegated. Some of these players may not want to move to Newcastle, but they want a better deal for themselves, so they will play the game. Some agents will want, as I've already said, will want to make more money, so they will play the game as well. They may say that a team is interested, but the team isn't interested, just to see what Newcastle's reaction is. It's all about gamesmanship. It's all about playing the game. It's as simple as that. But I don't believe for 1 minute that any team, certainly on the continent or abroad, are playing hardball and want Newcastle to suffer. I don't believe that for 1 minute. And the same has to be said for the teams in the UK. I would imagine that there'll be certain teams, owners like Tottenham's, for example, who didn't want the takeover to go through, will be reluctant to do business with Newcastle. But if the price is right for a player that they want to get out of the club, then they will probably do business. But they aren't going to be if they aren't going to make Newcastle the first option, because they didn't want the takeover to go through. Other teams, look, Burnley didn't have an option. There was a transfer, there was a release clause in Chris Wood's contract, and Newcastle paid the 25 million and got him. So you know what? Ultimately, I just think that there's a lot of paper talk about about people not wanting to do business with Newcastle, but I think it's wide of the mark, and I think it's all just rumours and conjecture.
The next game for Newcastle is going to be Al Ittihad game on a Friday. We understand closed doors for Corona restrictions, but why not televised? At least something for the fans. This is someone asking, Steve. In your opinion, why?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. It's early in the week, and I would be surprised if something doesn't happen with regards to the televisation of that game. I mean, a week's a long time. I think there would be a lot of people would like to watch it. I would be very surprised if this wasn't on Newcastle United's TV channel. I would be surprised if we didn't get some kind of update on there. But if there's no TV coverage, then it's just a friendly. That isn't unusual. Again, it's not unusual for pre-season friendlies and mid-season friendlies not to be televised. That's all it is. It's a training game. It's not. Although there'll be an edge of competitiveness about it, it won't be a very competitive game in the grand scheme of things. Newcastle are playing this game really to keep fitness levels up and to try different things out. This isn't a game where they want to pick up any injuries, for example. So although there'll be an edge of competitiveness about it, this won't be like a pre-season friendly, you would imagine. So again, another trip to Saudi on another occasion. I will be very surprised if the stadium isn't open. People are paying to go, and there is some kind of tournament. I can imagine that will be what the Saudi Arabians would love to do, moving forward. But this really is all about maintaining Newcastle's fitness levels, doing a little bit of team bonding, and keeping the players motivated, but keeping the players playing as a team, and giving those new players another game to bed in and get used to playing with the players around them.
Someone asked me why not Al Hilal Club, because Al Hilal Club in Riyadh, and it's not fair. Imagine, for example, going to Leeds and asking for playing with Newcastle. So Al Ittihad is from Jeddah, and he's the first in the league. So I think I believe that's the reason. It was honor to have you, Steve, again for our show, and this is such a special occasion. Newcastle arriving to Saudi Arabia. Thank you, Steve.
Absolute pleasure, Al-Waleed. Keep up the good work. Look forward to getting your updates, and we'll have you on NFC Matters this week, I'm sure, just to do an assessment maybe on Friday about how the week has gone.
Sure thing. كان معنا الإعلامي ستيف ريث من نيوكاسل. طبعا إن شاء الله راح نقوم بعمل حلقات أخرى، وأيضا راح أكون متواجد إن شاء الله ببرنامج قناة شؤون نيوكاسلية NFC Matters مع الإعلامي ستيف ريث. لسه ورانا أخبار كثير، ما راح نودعكم، ورانا أخبار كثير إن شاء الله. تابعونا في تويتر واليوتيوب. شكرا لكم للمتابعة. Thank you for watching. See you soon.